I want to share with you some thoughts on our approach at LARIBA, on what we do. And this is a little bit hazy because I intended to make it hazy because of the dates. The dates are arbitrary. But as you know, people were doing riba banking until Moses and Jesus came. And then the LARIBA faith-based banking started growing, and it became affluent until the peak of it during the golden days of Andalusia. And with the decline of Andalusia, it started going down, and it was completely smashed out of business after the First World War and the decline of the Ottoman Empire. Now, from that time on, things were sleepy, and then they started slowly going up. And then you have one of three scenarios. One scenario is it will take off and catch up with the riba banking after a 600 years of slumber, nothing, or it will go slowly parallel and will never catch up, or it will fall flat on its face and it will die. And it all depends on dedicated young men and women like you and the future generation. And we hope, inshallah, we will make the difference and will make it catch up and wake up from its 600 years of sleeping. Now, what are the historic developments of LARIBA? Interest riba prohibited by all Abrahamic faith. This is a fact of life. Those who were not here this morning, we talked in the morning, a Rabbi, Yosef Kanevsky, two Christian scholars, actually three Muslim scholars, spoke about the fact that interest and riba charging is prohibited by all faith. And this is a fact, and it is on the internet, online. Then the Prophet ﷺ went to Medina, and then things went up, and in Spain they reached the peak. And then the different historic models during the Khilafah till the Uthmaniyya decline in 1917. And then what I call the village model by Dr. Ahmad al-Najjar of Egypt between the 1950s and 1970s. And then the King Faisal era. And this is the era of petrodollars, where there was a lot of money with people. And King Faisal said, we have to use Islamic financing. Then it became the preferred mode of operation of the rich and the affluent. And I call it, and then of course the development of the Islamic Development Bank. And then the emergence of what I call the Gulf banking industry and Islamic banking for the rich and affluent, what I call high net worth individuals in the 1980s until now. Well, actually, some people are making the mistake, especially in the West, that this is where they get their assets from. And they are making the fattest mistake in their lives, because this era is over if they don't know about it. And the real era is what's happening. The real communities in the West, especially in the United States. This is the community that we need to focus on. They don't know what is brewing out there on the campuses. I happen to know because I go to campuses. And you will see something you have never seen. This is where the resources are. It is not in Bahrain. It is not in Dubai, despite the fact you see all of this facade that you see on the surface. What the real thing is here in the United States. And then unfortunate things happened. In the 1980, 1990, the Egyptian Islamic finance companies used Islam as a front, except one company called Al-Sharif. Others used Islam as a front to gather people's savings that they worked very hard for in Saudi Arabia and the Gulf countries, and they lost it. They speculated in gold in the name of Islam. They lost money in the name of Islam, and they got to be ashamed of themselves in the name of Islam. And then the Turkish experience, which happened twice. Once recently, where people went to the German Turkish community, people in Germany that worked very hard to save money, and they lured them with the greedy instinct of getting their money and promising them 25% return. And guess what? They lost their savings twice in Turkey. So these clouds of suspicion have been actually gathering over many Islamic banking experiences. And then the seventh point is really the most significant one, and that is the Malaysian experience, which is what I call Islamic banking at the central bank level. For the first time in the history of LARIBA banking, a central bank advocates the idea, the Prime Minister buys and believes in the idea, and for the first time a central bank acts as a banker of last resort for an Islamic banking system. And for the first time ever, they ask different commercial banks which deal in riba to offer LARIBA banking windows. And this is the Islamic banking window in riba banks. And then the European venture in Islamic banking, Luxembourg and Denmark, they all went bankrupt because, again, the intent is very important in the success of this business. Al Baraka Bank of London was closed because the government said if you don't have a bank in Saudi Arabia, you cannot have a bank here. And Dar al-Mal al-Islami in Geneva, Switzerland, lost tons of money on the so-called Islamic deals, which really looked on the surface as Islamic, but inside they were corrupt to the core, and I'm sorry to say. And then the European private and commercial banks, this is like Pectet, like Citibank Europe, so on. What they are doing, using the Islamic, you heard it from the Dow Jones, niche market, so they can attract funds. And God knows what happened to these funds. Actually, I know that after the Gulf War, a nice person with a check of $1 billion went into the offices of a Swiss bank corporation. He said, I am from the government of such and such country, invest this for me. And he didn't know anything about Islamic finances. They called us and we told them how to do it. This is long before the Dow Jones Islamic Index came in, and you know, what happened has happened. And then comes the American scene. American finance house LARIBA, we are independent. We do not owe anybody anything except Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We're not involved in ISNA, we're not involved in ICNA, we're not involved in any organization. We pride ourselves that our capital is from here. And we are independent. And we put our money where our mouth is. We do not use other people's money. It is our money. If we lose it, I lose it. And others in the shareholders lose it. And then MSI was a subsidiary of ICNA. ICNA is Islamic Circle of North America. It's mostly Indian Pakistani, located in New York, but have a nice gathering. ISNA, Islamic Society of North America. Al Baraka Bank Corp in California closed down in Chicago a year ago. UBK came in 1998, sat for a year and a half, closed down. They didn't tell us yet why they closed down. And then there are different American private banks. Now, let me tell you something. My motivation, our motivation in doing this is to win paradise, and Allah is our witness. Mike, all of us are in it to win paradise. I don't know if one of the largest banks, Hong Kong or whatever it is, the chairman of the board is in it because he believes that if he does it, he will win paradise. I have no idea. But this is between him and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now, we are not in it to make the profit, we're in it to really and seriously win paradise. And then the European American scene, the Gulf War, lease funds, and Islamic stock indices funds, and this fund and that fund, they were all mutual funds in the name of Islam to attract funds under the guise of Islam, not to invest it in the local communities, but to invest it outside the local communities. And of course, the mergers and acquisitions. This is in a nutshell the history of Islamic banking. Why should we have LARIBA, faith-based banking? Number one is job creations. Everybody agrees on that. But in our case, it's job creation for those who are discriminated against, in addition to others who are treated equally. Now, the discriminated against, there are ladies today who cannot get a job, especially these days, because they're wearing the hijab. Well, if there is an outlet for them, they can do that. Now, political satisfaction for the masses. Some countries say, okay, I'm going to give you Islamic banking, and I'm going to bring you the big institutions, the fast and rich and famous, so they can put the masses to rest and to happiness. Market niche to make money and gather assets. Yeah, I am doing the market. As a matter of fact, if you noticed, you will find that there is a lot of international banks opening up shop in Dubai. Why Dubai? Because most of the money that was sitting in the United States and in the West moved back to Dubai after what happened in 9/11. Now, somebody wants to capture this market, and that's how they do it. And then the last objective, which I subscribe to, and that's the removal of riba from the world so we can win paradise. This is what we're out for, winning paradise. What is our credo? And this is very important because this is truly what we all at American Finance House believe in. The prohibition of riba is an important pillar of the faith and the belief in God, in all Abrahamic faith. We believe in full transparency, and it is a must. There is no hidden agendas. And everything we do is on the internet. You can read it in dollars and cents. We do not hide anything. And I promise you, there are so many things that are hidden in the closet in the so-called big name Islamic banks. I know it because I know the inside story very, very well. Number 3, compliance with the laws of the land. We comply with the laws of the land. We are not out to change the laws of America. We are out to comply with the laws of the land without violating God's law. And that's the most important proviso. No politics. We are not in politics. We do not understand politics. We do not have a hidden agenda to change governments. We are not in that business. We are in the business of serving people so we can win paradise. Very simple-minded objective. We are not in the business to get elected or to influence people or discredit others. And we believe firmly that credit is a human right. Number 5. A commodity, tangible asset and or service must change hands at a fair market value using the concept of market to the market developed by Dr. Mahmoud Al-Jamal and ourselves, and very happy to promote that concept. Number 6, speculation and its tools and paper trading are prohibited. We do not believe in it. And if it smells like interest, walks like interest, talks like interest, walks like speculation, walks like paper trading, and it calls itself profit, it is still interest. And it will be dealt as interest. And we will go to bad repercussions if we apply it. Number 7, promotion of community development is our prime goal. And reinvestment of that asset is our prime importance. Number 8, social responsibility and ethical behavior are the foundation of our business. And number 9, we're out to win paradise. We must start from the, what's our strategy? We start from the possible to achieve the impossible. We are not out to destroy the riba or conventional banking system. We are out to provide an alternative to people so they can choose from whatever they like. We are not in business to change the laws of the land. We shall do our best to educate and guide government, banking regulators, and politicians about what we believe in and our system. We're very delighted that we have gotten together with Freddie Mac. We are honored. We're thankful to Almighty God that we got together and we were able to explain to them what we are, what we stand for, and how we operate to conclude what we have done over the last 10 months. We are also communicating very aggressively today with the Office of the Controller of the Currency, soon with the FDIC, soon with the Federal Reserve Board, Uncle Greenspan, so we can make sure that they understand what we're out. We're not out for anything but to provide a humble alternative without violating the laws of the land. We are in business to offer solutions and services that will help reduce the influence of riba in people's lives. We must reach as many community members as possible through usefulness to the community, unselfish participation, active community service, efficient use of channels as places of worship. My dream, my vision is to have one of our outlets next to every masjid, every mosque, every synagogue, every church, every Buddhist temple, everywhere in the world. And I wish I will not die until some of this will be realized, inshallah. We utilize the name LARIBA. You will find that all of our literature, we do not invoke the word Islamic. We believe that the word Islamic has been overused, abused, and not respected. We want people to judge who we are, what we stand for, what we believe in, based on what we do, not what we call ourselves. And we promise to live by Islam and to project a humble, dedicated serving, non-wasting, and attentive attitude to everybody, to the poor before the rich. We are out to serve, to attract, and to appeal to all people of all groups, irrespective of religion, affiliations, background, denomination, because we believe that Islam is a spiritual nationality. Islam is not reserved to the Arabs, to the Pakistanis, to the Indians, to the Bangladeshis. It is a spiritual nationality that's available to the whole wide world. And we are out to serve everyone with no discrimination, because discrimination is a sin in my belief system. Our motto is very simple, and that is what the Prophet ﷺ was reported to have said. خَيْرُ النَّاسِ أَنْفَعُهُمْ لِلنَّاسِ. The best of all people are the ones who are beneficent to others, who benefit others, who make a difference in other people's lives. And our planning horizon is not 5 years, our planning horizon is 50 years. So we have second generation like Mike Abdul Ati in place. We have third generation like Sharif Abdu and others in place. And we even have fourth generation, because every summer we have at least 5 trainees from high school and universities. So inshallah in due time we'll have a new force that will be a fresh force that we hope will change the world. Our goal and vision is to establish a truly global banking service system that offers our products. And we want our products and services not to be only attractive to faith-based LARIBA bankers. We want them to be attractive to riba conventional bankers. We want them to come to us and say, we would like to have your products because they are less expensive, more efficient, more attractive. That is our goal. That is our objective. And then the approach. What is the strategic approach? There is a strategy by the Prophet ﷺ and in the Seerah which says, مَا لَا يُدْرَكُ كُلُّهُ لَا يُتْرَكُ جُلُّهُ. And whoever wrote this, because I don't have Arabic, so I sent it and he made a mistake. Whatever cannot be achieved in its totality cannot be used as a justification to leave it alone. It is your duty to start from the possible to achieve the impossible, like the Prophet ﷺ was reported to have done, starting from the possible to achieve the impossible. ما خير رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم بين أمرين إلا واختار أيسرهما. First, start from what's possible and gradually go to the more difficult solutions. The fourth point is, we want to know our size. رحم الله امرأ عرف قدر نفسه. God bestows peace of mind, mercy, and happiness unto people who know exactly what their size is. You ask me what's my size? I'm a little ant. Now why am I a little ant? Because we're dealing in $25, $28 million. Look at Freddie Mac. They dealt last year in $380 billion. Billion dollars, right? So we are a little ant. We are not ashamed of saying we are ants. The shame is that you are an ant and you stand out and say, I'm an elephant, and you are nothing. So we want to know exactly what our size is, hoping one day, inshallah, we're going to have the aspiration, the hard work and dedication, so we can be big, and we will, inshallah, Rabbil Alameen. And this is our mission, is to build a system that is for all, that's socially responsible, inshallah. What do we have here? This is company policy. We finance socially responsible projects that benefits the community. We offer products and services that are competitive with those offered by riba banks. In other words, you cannot come to me and I do a financing for you and the rate of return is 10% while Bank of America gives you the same product for 6%. That becomes sorcery. That becomes useful use of the Islamic word, but you will be, inshallah, punished by higher authority. We have to be competitive with everybody. Now, I want to finish here, and I want to show you the fact that we're very, very conservative. We have a saying in Egypt. I come from Egypt, and I'm going to say it in the Egyptian Arabic language, and then I'll translate it. It says, اللي يتلسع من الشوربة ينفخ في الزبادي, which means if your lips get burned by sipping soup, you end up being so careful, even when you eat yogurt and ice cream, you blow in it to make sure it doesn't burn your lips. We're very conservative, boringly conservative. We are really very happy to report that over the last 14 years, all we had were 2 bad loans. 2 bad loans. And when the auditors look at this, they can't believe what we're doing. So how can you do this? Because we know every member of the community. We know the person, his wife, his kids, which masjid he goes to. This is what they teach us in the business school about the first rule of financing, and that is, know your client. And it is our money. We do not want to lose that money. So this is our most important thing. Why? Because if we use the word Islamic, and we are not fair to the word Islamic, and we lose people's savings in the name of Islam, guess what? The person who lost his money will tell his kids, never deal with these Muslims. They are liars, they are thieves. And the reason he cannot go to this university is because I gave my money to the Muslims. Not only this, but that son will tell his son, and that sad thing will propagate over 3 generations. And if you do this, if I do this, I'll be participating in the biggest crime that I can ever stand up before Allah to protect myself of, inshallah.